Hey everybody, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. So today I wanted to talk about something that I've actually asked my community over on Twitter, X, whatever it's called now, and here on YouTube. By the way, you should sub and you'll actually see those polls that you guys can give your opinions on. It's great. It's a great way for me to listen to what you guys have to say and pull my own opinions in from it. So I asked them what the best design killer in the game is. Now I didn't give any qualifiers. I was more so hoping people would kind of give me their opinions and qualify them themselves. But unanimously, regardless, we kind of agreed. So 40% on both Twitter and here on YouTube said Oni was the best design killer. It wasn't overwhelmingly there. And there was one notable mention I am going to bring up at the end of this that I actually think is better designed than Oni. But let's go into why the community thinks Oni is the best designed killer. Because I was kind of surprised because a lot of people often say Demo is whenever you ask them in casual conversation. Demo is that middle of the pack, like very counterable, very fun, shows skill expression on both sides to play against, has map mobility, has all of this stuff. The thing with Oni, however, and why I think he's considered the best killer, best designed killer, that should be noted, not strongest, best designed killer in the game, is he's a snowball killer with a condition. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's often said the moment you give an Oni the first hit, the game is truly begun. And the reason for that, after that first hit, is when he starts to ramp up and get his actual power. Now, once he gets his power, it isn't an insta-win button. It still takes skill to use. There's still flicks you can do with it. There's still ways to dodge it. It's mostly telegraphed pretty decently well. And while it can insta-down you, once again, it also has a wind-up. He can't just shoot it out similar to how Plague does with the Vile Purge in a similar way. Once he picks someone up, he loses the power. So once he downs somebody, he has to make a choice of getting rid of his power or continuing on the slugfest to find somebody else and maybe losing the pressure he just gained from that. Then he has to get his power back if he runs out. There is so much that goes into Oni's kit that makes him so good to play on both sides. Because once you get skilled with Oni, a lot of these problems don't exist. And certain perks synergize with Oni better than they do other killers. Infectious Fright, while a good build or a good perk on a lot of killers, synergizes extremely well on Oni in particular because of that whole making the choice to slug. It also synergizes with him well on undetectable builds because he can know exactly where to go, and when he gets there, you have no idea he's there, and he can get the sneak attack. Information perks, generator information perks in particular, work very well with Oni because once he gets into his Demon Rush, he also has map mobility and map pressure because he could be anywhere and be on you at Mach 10 with certain add-ons, and you have no way of knowing that he's coming unless you're looking directly at him. He's not really affected by any maps in particular. A lot of the maps work very well for him. Unlike Billy, because of how he doesn't get stopped by walls, indoor maps really don't hurt him that much. Same thing with Blight. Blight, there's a few maps where, unless you're really skilled with Blight, can be kind of bad to play on. But with Oni, you don't have to worry about that as much. You can just slide off the terrain if you know what you're doing. And once again, he's a snowbally killer in the sense that once he gets that first down or that first hit, the game truly starts. Once he gets that first down, even if he's not running Infectious Fright, he's looking for someone else to get value out of his power. You can hide to bait it out and maybe get the up, and now he's wasted all that time and his entire power that he has to get back again. There's so much that goes into playing against an as Oni that I really do agree with my community that he is one of the best designed killers in the game. And there's one thing, and you can call this a cop-out, that I think puts him lower than the killer I'm going to say next. So, another killer that was brought up a lot was, ironically, and I'm going to let my bias show here because everyone knows this is my most hated killer to go against. Even though I don't really hate going against any killer, this is the one I've kind of grown at. Pinhead. With the exception of Engineer's Fang. Now, why do I think Pinhead might actually be better designed than Oni? Because the counter to Pinhead is coordination. Just because he lands his power doesn't necessarily mean he gets a hit. You have a lot of options. You can try to break the chains in certain terrain. Your teammates can help you break the chains. You can just suffer through the slow and hope you can mind game it properly. He still has to hit the chain in the first place, and there's a lot of anticipation is the wrong word, but wind up to when the chain's coming out. You see the blue light or the blue gate. You see the chain come out. The Pinhead still has to aim and hit you with it, etc., etc. There's a lot that goes into it. The only thing I would say Pinhead really doesn't have going for him is some maps do kind of mess him up. A lot of the smaller maps are kind of okay for him, but do make finding the box easier for the survivors. And a lot of indoor maps screw up the chain logic. But yeah, but much like Oni, though, he also has a built-in slowdown mechanic in the sense of you have to get the box or else it's going to completely hinder you the entire match, which I think is nice. I think Pinhead is one of the good examples of hindered in this game. When I did the video, the podcast on Skull Merchant, some people were saying that hindered shouldn't be in the game. And most people pointed out Clown and Skull Merchant for obvious reasons. No one really mentioned Pinhead's hinder. And I think it's because Pinhead's hinder isn't that bad. And like I said, there's a lot you can do once it happens. Because when Skull Merchant hinders you, you're just hindered. When Clown hinders you, you're just hindered for that time limit. When Pinhead hinders you, now you have choices to make. Do you go left into him? Do you try to make the chains go through the wall? Can you dodge the second chain before it comes out? Like, there's a lot of different things that can happen. Can you break it on the environment? Can your teammate come by and break it? Etc., etc. If you go into this loop, is the chain even that effective in the first place? Like, there's a lot that goes into that. The thing I think that makes Pinhead better designed, and once again, this is going to be a cop-out, while I do agree Oni overall is better designed, I think Pinhead has something over him, and that is base perks. Oni's teachables are not that good. And I know this is a weird thing to bring up. I just think it should be noted. Oni's teachables are not that good. Also, his add-ons don't have that much variety. A lot of Pinheads have at least decent changes to his gameplay. Now, I will argue that Engineer's Fang is badly designed, but every other add-on in Pinhead's arsenal, I think, is pretty well designed. But no, the perks are a big selling point for me, because Pinhead has Deadlocked and Gifts of Pain. Those two alone make him really good for not only new players, but even old players. Deadlock is one of the best gen-stopping perks in the game. It's a perk I slop on most builds just because, okay, I need some slowdown, but I really don't want to commit to it. Boom, there we go, Deadlocked. Gift of Pain, I think with the Mangle changes actually might be better because now the Mangle doesn't happen until after they're unhooked. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, I really do think it's a tie between Pinhead and Oni for different reasons. My bias wants to lean towards Oni, and based on what everyone's saying, I do really think it is Oni. But I think Pinhead is definitely a huge contender in it, in the sense of how well I think the counterplay is there. Once again, he can be a little infuriating without the right counterplay. I do understand that, and that's why I think Oni kind of beats him a little bit, because Oni, at the end of the day, is still just a chase killer, and there's no need for like team coordination, even a little bit, to kind of counter him. There is to a degree with how the blood pools work, but that's a yeah. We'll save that for the Oni main podcast, I suppose. But tell me what you guys think. Like I said, I asked my community what they thought, and I just wanted to get my opinions on the reasoning behind it, and I think this is what they did. I hope I did justice to it. Any case, I love y'all. See you in the next one. Have a good one, and yeah, bye.